The MTG podcast is a virtual space for women and men in the tech and creative industries.
Tune in as we put it all on the table, sharing authentic life truths as we sustain and empower each other in search of our tribe.
We're more than a designer. We're more than our name badge. We're more than the work we produce.
Welcome to the More Than Graphics podcast.
We're that tribe.
What's good, people? What's up, everybody? Welcome. It is literally a night of libations and liberations today, as we're like literally walking into this episode of Intent. So I'm Danielle.
I'm Cicely.
And today we just are really kicking it, one, with someone that I'm like good friends with. And then two, it's going to be a really cool discussion to talk about intent and where we come from those different perspectives. So first off, Cicely, what's good in your world?
Just a lot going on as usual. I'm gearing up for school to start back for me, for Liam, for the kids. New job on the horizon that's starting next week. Just a whole bunch of everything, as always with me. But that's all. That's all I got.
But that's all though.
That's it.
That's my favorite part.
No big deal.
It's kind of the same here. We're all kind of getting ready before back to school. Families are getting back together. My blended family is pretty separate during the summer. And so this is like our reunification, family reunion sort of feel. We've got some summer birthdays. Like we had my birthday and then my kid's birthday. And so there's like a lot of things happening on in between that time. But I'm looking forward to just kind of getting back into the groove of some normality. I'm not looking forward to waking up at 5 a.m. to get my kids to go to school, but I am looking forward to like that season of work, you know, with fall, all the things that are coming in this upcoming season. It's really cool to like understand and appreciate that transition, right? So I'm a fall person. So if you don't already know, like I'm the pumpkin PSL for life. I am like extra when it comes to Halloween and pumpkins and fall things. So that is my jam. I will cut you. It is for real. But it's one of those things where I also understand too, like everyone is not always in that vibe. So this level of intent that I'm bringing to this conversation, hopefully is a good Kickstarter for our guest today. So Cicely, I'm gonna let you introduce our good friend, Keith Cooper.
Absolutely. We are the Blerd.ish podcast, an online comic book pop-up shop. We are independent distribution for artists that consists of indie comics to manga and art print. Our podcast consists of reviews of things we watch and enjoy. Our guests include a focus on Black creators in various walks of life. We are in the process of creating our own comic-styled coloring book based on our experiences one day. Welcome to Keith.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm just glad that you're here. So just to kind of give you a little backstory, me and Keith, we go back a little bit because a while back a day, I'm not going to say when because that would be telling too much, but a way back a day, I was really hardcore into Blerd.ish and just their absolute line of, well, I'd say their anchorage, their battle cry for one to uplift other artisans of color, getting behind comics, which is a huge love of mine anyway. So I'm still trying to get me a Blerd shirt to be on the side, like discreet, like I need to get a Blerd shirt. But I just love everything that you're doing through this brand. So can you tell us a little backstory about how that even came to be?
First of all, thank you for that. Like, y'all don't, you know what? Intent is a good word because what you just said, through the summer, I'm a summer person, by the way, born in June 22nd. I'm a Cancer. Not that I believe in any of all that, you know, and I'm pretty sure, as Cancers would tell you, that's probably a Cancer thing to say. But
I'm one, July 22nd. Come on.
Okay, so you know, but we shout out to my homie Mark Dub, which is Mark Wallace is his government name. We met through other mutual friends, and it kind of goes back before Black Panther was coming out. As y'all know, the great Blerd awakening, aka the coming of Black Panther.
Yes.
Which created a lot of people say, you know what, I'm gonna fly my Blerd and my nerd flag very proud and high. and I didn't mind. I never just hid mine or anything because it's what I like. I always like anime. I love comics. You know, I wasn't like your, I'm gonna say typical one. I wasn't like in your face in it, like blah blah. And I just, I kept it to myself, whatever. But who's ever old enough to remember Blues Brothers? You know how when you see Jake and you hear
Yes.
that intro, that's how it kind of was when we were at this bar by LSU. It was like, oh yeah, Mark is into that. Well, Keith is into that. It was like, word, word. I said, you know what? How about we talk about stuff before Black Panther comes out? Because that's coming out. He's like, yep, I do know it's coming out. Such and such date. I said, word, you own it. And I really love Marvel. He really collects DC books. I said, I'm into anime. I'm into this. So we have different things that we pull from, and then we got stuff that we coincide with. So it never got stale. And then we decided to do it. It was funny because we even had not controversy, but somebody was trying to like get my co-host to do their podcast before we even started ours. So that's the light story, but basically that's just the crux of it. We met through mutual friends. We have a love for this, and we was like, hey, we're just gonna do this casually or whatever, and we're gonna try to get guests. Let's also get Black comic book creators and see if we can talk to them and have them on. And y'all, I am nowhere near as organized as Danielle. I'll tell you this now, like Danielle has a form and all this, and it's organized. I used to be. I used to like book a whole year in advance. I don't do that no more. I just like, you want to come on? Like, yeah, all right, let me see what my schedule's like. But that things change when you do. We've been doing it for 6 years.
Yes.
It's to be, I know for a fact, one of the longest running Blerd podcasts. It ain't no lie. I'm not bragging. And I'm also one of the, if you can go to the trademark office, you'll see one of the few, about 5, unless more people than did it, that uses the word blurred in some type of trademark. I am one of them.
Wow, that's awesome. I so love this. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you here, because I think that's, again, that level of intent, right? You had intention when you guys first hooked up. And shout out to No Mark. We love you, bro. We miss you out. We took Key first. But I love the fact that you had this huge level of intention. You already knew kind of what you wanted to do, and even though it wasn't concrete, it wasn't word for word planned out. And I personally think that plans shouldn't be black and white planned out to that extent. There should be some organic flow, and I feel like that's such a true testimony to your story. Is the level of intent that you wanted to create that space.
Look, the first pop up I ever did before I sold any comic book, and it's actually an event that I helped plan for my job, the Mid City Microcon here in Baton Rouge. Instead of selling, because I didn't have nothing to sell, I wasn't a vendor. I was there as a planner and as a podcaster. I cut out pictures of all the Black comics that I knew that I wanted to get and made a table display so I can show people we exist. We are in this thing. Here's our artists. Here are Black people, and it ain't just Marvel and DC and Image. And let me throw this in. Let me say this. I know some people might be like, but I don't care. When I say big, I like to say big 3. Image, it's independent, but it's not independent. Image, yes, you get to own your own, idea, supposedly usually with them, but they're big distribution. So if you're with Image, you're independent, but you're not like somebody who did their own Kickstarter, who raised funds and do all these other things.
Oh yeah.
Hope my battery ain't tripping.
Oh, okay.
So if let me not be too long, let me make sure this thing, I don't know, the heat is acting up.
No worries. But I really relate to you saying that specifically, because I feel like a lot of people, I was gonna even mention like, kind of what's been happening in and around like BlerdCon really, like just recently, right? With Black Day. So that's like a huge controversy right now. at the time of this recording. So this is really kind of interesting how you mentioned images, and I'm like, well, that's actually something kind of similar feels and similar ties to what is happening with a concept or an idea and the likeness of that idea being used on a more widestream basis. So yeah, like I'd love to get your thoughts on that just randomly, just because that's something that's going to happen next year.
I'll say this. I don't know who's watching. First of all, yeah, there's always some controversy that pops up one way or the other. I don't know what side people are on it. I'll just say this because I've had it happen to me to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us who are Blerd creators, we are businesses. You do not have a right to just willy-nilly use people's name.
Mm-hmm.
You need to ask, or you need to go through the proper channels, or you need to be expected to pay. Or here's a news flash: create your own, and it's no problem. It's such an easy concept.
It
So
is. I'm right with
such
you.
an
I 110% agree. If you have an
it's
idea and you know where you got that idea from, at least pay respect to Mother Nature before you move on and say, I'm going to build my city on this.
just like that's one thing that I'm glad that in all walks of life, nobody's gonna ever. I hope nobody ever say Keith Cooper is a thief. That's something
Mhm.
I rather fold Blerd.ish up, roll it on, destroy it before I get those type of reputations. I don't want those type of
Mhm.
reputations. That is not me. Whether if they allegedly true or whatever the subject of person we talk about, I don't know.
Mhm.
I ain't involved in it. But just
Right.
based on what the controversy appears to be, I don't
Mhm.
even want that reputation.
Yeah. I completely agree. I just think it's very interesting. Thank you for your insight on that, because a lot of people need to hear and share. And I feel like that's where the conversation really gets started, is by sharing our
Now,
experiences.
can I give you a flip side? That I've been PC. And I'm not even going to talk to, say, the person who's alleged. I want to talk to you people out there who don't know shit,
Right?
who don't know shit about business and this and that, or just mean a-holes.
Mm-hmm.
Quit saying, "Oh, you don't own this such and such, blah blah." Learn about ownership law, because I'm telling you, if it happened to you, if somebody look, I'm a sports fan. I done watched the whole NCAA stuff for years. How that go? And I used to call in the radio shows, and I used to love messing with some white folk, like just because it was because like Baton Rouge, big sports town,
Yes.
LSU, Southern University. I'm a Southern University graduate. Sports are big generally here, and a guy named Jordy Holberg played basketball for LSU, and we was talking about the Ed O'Bannon case. Think about the Ed O'Bannon case, y'all.
Yes.
Ed O'Bannon, God bless this brother here. Ed O'Bannon is why we have the NIL case, the NIL portal. I know I'm going sports related, but hey, I'm a sports nerd too, and stuff like that. And if to keep it with the nerdy with video games, EA Sports had to say, we got to get out of the NCAA because we don't want to be a part of that lawsuit. So we gonna stop. And he's like, do not use my image in these unless I'm getting paid for it. I don't get paid for these things. And Ed O'Bannon, part of a world championship UCLA team. It's UCLA. They're legendary in college basketball. Have that reputation. So, folks, if this is a man who is generally wealthy, but he's fighting an uphill battle against a bigger organization, how dare you come and shit all over a smaller guys, different that, with people who got the bigger organization. If
Yes.
a bigger organization who has a bigger platform should know how to be more professional.
Yes.
And it's just a goddamn shame when you see it from, it irks me, you
Yeah.
know, it
It
irks me.
should.
And it's like, it frustrates me. And it's like, you know, I just wish more people would be a little bit more polite. Do not kick people down who are in this
Yes.
community. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, we know that white folk got some dirt with them too.
Right?
But this rings loud, it just rings ugly. But yet, don't tell people not to defend themselves or whatever.
Yes.
And So I commend the person who is defending themselves. I like how they're doing it. I think they're being very professional. I think they're being very stoic in their listing points. And I want to see where this goes.
Yeah.
So I'm not knocking nobody who attend this and saying debates. However, quit attacking people. And this ain't me. I don't like bullies. I don't like thieves. I don't like con men, if you will.
Right. Exactly.
Anyway.
Oh, I love this.
That's
Thank
my
you for coming to his TED Talk, y'all. This was the Blerd.ish TED Talk. I think that is so, again, those voices are needed. That's so needed in the moment. So I'm hoping that people who are listening to this in earshot range are like, yeah, he's speaking some truth right now, because he really is. There's just,
And if you don't like it, don't add me. Don't add me. Don't add me. I don't care. But
I love it. Okay, so okay, and saying all of that was intentful, just so everybody knows. That was straight up intentful. And I poked the bear on that one. So I really wanted to make sure, like, I kind of flip it back around to kind of this level of intention for Blerd.ish. How has building Blerd.ish help you be more intentional about your life?
Oh man, that's a good question. And this kind of goes more like, we're like a comic book. We got origin stories for days. The first week that I say attended one of my first cons, Jackson, Mississippi. I love the Mississippi Comic Con. I don't miss it every year. I went from attending, having fun, to being a vendor about 3 years in a row. It's profitable. It's fun. Black people are there. It's a dope time. It's not far from my house. It's like 2-3 hours away. But that con that when I first attended, my older brother passed away 5 years away during that weekend, and it was I think before the Great Baton Rouge flood of 2015, and you can kind of say I premiered Blerd.ish there, if you will, or presented myself as, hey, I'm Blerd.ish, I'm a podcast and such, yada yada yada. Check me out, holla. Just walk around talking to people and doing that. But it has helped me kind of work through some of my scenarios and problems, because before my brother passed, my father was a very elderly man, but he passed the year before. So I've lost two pivotal people in my life that inspired me or whatever, and me and my older brother, we wasn't on the best of terms, but I do thank him for, he was 4 years older than me. We played video games together. I used to want to be an artist. He used to want to be an artist. He introduced me to comic books. We used to love the Hulk, Spider-Man, Marvel, Fantastic Four, Black Panther. Played Nintendo, and played basketball against each other. Just do the stuff that people do as kids who grew up in the 80s and late 70s, what we would do. So even though we may have not had the best of relationship as adults sometimes, but Blerd.ish is low key a part of it, a homage and a love letter to the time we spent. So I don't say that often or tell people, but when it does come up, I like to tell people the full story. Like, this is something I do to honor the happiest days, the things that I like to remember, and I like to pass that on. Like, I want it to be a brand that uplifts. And Mark's situation is somewhat similar. His older brother had passed, different things, so it's just kind of like weird fate that we met, and that we can have those similarities in some ways. So it's
That's
been
so touching. Like, thank you for sharing that. I know it's kind of vulnerable still, but I think that's just the coolest thing, because we don't see a lot. We're seeing it more often, thank goodness. But it's not often that we get to see men open up in that way and say, I was in a tough spot. And instead of me just grinding through it, or, drinking through it or whatever, there is a level of, I need to connect.
And it was keeping myself busy, connect with people, not just kind of wallow and sit and suffer silently. And sometimes you're going to deal with it in grief. It's going to come back. I'm not going to lie. I'll see, like, today, weirdest thing. And forgive me, y'all, I'm 41. So If y'all don't know these references, I'm sorry. Whoever the y'all target
You're not too
audience
far
is.
behind, bro.
So, but like growing up, my brother used to love playing Marble Madness in the arcade, and like we used to go to this bowling alley that was the closest to our house, and it wasn't far from Southern University. And it was funny as a kid, you don't know how far things is, but it's really not that far. It's far enough. We live kind of in the rural, almost the rural part of Baton Rouge, in a city called Baker, and we grew up in the historic Black neighborhood of Leland College. I actually had a HBCU that was built there, so look it up, Leland College. But it only took like really like 20 minutes to get to this bowling alley. And that was kind of like our Saturday, like when my dad used to get out the house, kind of like what we did for fun. He was like, all right, I'm gonna go to Metro Bowl. I don't go all the way over to these fancy places. And they had an arcade there. So of course we played arcade games. And when you see like video of Marble Madness, and it's like it just, oh yeah, my brother used to play Marble Madness. I loved it. And it's like, I sucked at it, but he always played it. And it's just one of those things. So you don't like triggers from the nerdy stuff that you grew up with can bring you back either sometimes to a happier place or sometimes it may give you a little bit of grief, but it does get better as it go on. So it's better to deal with it in some type of way. I ain't have money for counseling or whatever and this and that and all that, but I was able to say, hey, I feel better about this. This does bring me great joy. That's why I'm a little bit protective of my baby per se, like,
Come on.
to tie it all around
Mm-hmm.
to these other conversations that we just had about a certain entity and organization that we ain't gonna mention no more. But jokes, but still not joking. So just know that people do take their work serious, whether if you see it as a hobby or as a gag or whatever. I've had people, I had to get on who try to start a Blerd.ish podcast, a actual comic book creator, followed me on Instagram. Check me out. And then next thing I know, I see it on Facebook. I was like, hey, and I got public with it. I didn't go into that, but we had terrible conversations with each other. He was like, blah, blah, blah. You just, they're like, I said, well, we got rid of him before. I'm like, bruh. And what's so crazy is this out the blue, somebody said, I saw what you did, and I thank you for calling him out. He's a hack and he's a thief. I don't know who this person was, but they thanked me for like calling him out. And he was like, you being on my. Then he got mad because I'm on his public page, away from his business page. And he was like, such and such comics are not going to use this for that. Dog, I don't care. I said, you're not me. You're trying to steal my identity, and that's not cool. Of course, I'm going to call you out and be loud about it because I am me, and there's proof of it. I have a whole website.
Yeah.
And I have a whole trademark for such and such. He talking about, well, you ain't got such and such. Like, bro, I got one. It is what it is.
Yes.
So,
shut that down.
And every time when I'm off of camera, because I don't give my people who I don't like free pub.
Right.
Don't give them folks no free pub. Say it off camera and say this and explain to people who will listen. So I've had it happen to me a couple times, so I know what it's like, man. I just that sent me in a dark place. But the work that I help people do, like selling their book, like it, and I'm gonna switch gears because I still do the Mid City Microcon, and I try to get as many diverse creators involved in it.
Yes.
Out here. So that's always a interesting process. I'm on the committee.
Pictures look good.
It's whew. Look, y'all. That's why, I take any compliment I get for the work that I do because trust and believe, I earned that.
Yes, you did.
I earned it.
I love that.
Hey, these 9-to-5 positions, man.
I totally relate to that. And I think that's so interesting too. Like, even as you have talked about the progression of the brand, it still is very intentional on what you truly meant to do. Like, it's literally comprised of several specific components that you want to use. So the fact that you still have a heart for it 6 years in, 8 years in, that's a lot. That's a lot of
Six
time. That's a lot of.
6 years. 6 years podcasting. 4 years vending.
Mm-hmm.
And probably about 4 years, 3 or 4 years doing this, being a part of this con locally.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that kind of is like a crux of who I am and what I've been doing and part of my identity. But sometimes you got to separate, your 9 to 5 away from your personal.
I'm doing
Just
better. I'm doing better at it. I think anyone who's a creative can relate to that. Like, it's so hard for me to stop.
You notice I ain't say the name of my job, haven't you?
I know this. I'm so proud of you.
I said the name of the event. I ain't say the name of my job. Practice.
I'm proud of you for that. You can share that whenever you feel comfortable. Like, there's no harm, no foul. But I like the fact that you kept it separate. Just as an example.
Look, and I'll give you an example. I know I'm kind of goofing off here a little bit, but I did an interview with 225 magazine, and I've been wanting this. It's kind of a bougie, upscale, what's going around town, hoity-toity magazine. They talk to people. They got their hand on the pulse of things and all that. And I had a full 1-page feature in the LSU football magazine. Like, it was LSU. It was last August, and it was so funny being interviewed by this person who is a writer, yada yada. But I love how they like to think you don't know how your own story should go. Like, I haven't did this at all or anything, or I don't know nothing. They was like, well, I think if you mention your job, it will sell better, or it will help promote you better. I'm like, no, they ain't create this. They not doing what I'm doing. Hell no. I'll take my chance. She like, I swear she was like trying to summon Beetlejuice. She kept saying it like 3-4 times in a row. Like, quit. No, it's not going to happen. If you want, I will write it up for me. I said, I've done other articles. I've written my own stuff, where they have that type of format. And she's like, well, those are not like, the real articles. I said, but nobody can tell my story better than me. And I said, so
that's right.
There it is.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting thing. And sure enough, I got my way a little bit. That person was like, I get it. I said, thank you for getting it. I don't think you really did, but you see how serious I am about it.
Right. Sometimes that's what it takes, is you just need to show that level of seriousness, whether or not they think they're right or not. Like, I'm serious though.
Hey man, what did they say? You wasn't in the gym shooting shots with me. My job wasn't in the gym creating this. They wasn't in the lab cooking this up.
Right.
They'll get. We work together. Okay.
Right.
They don't get to be in my life article.
Okay, so I had a couple of questions, but Cicely, did you want to ask anything else?
I was going to jump in and just mention and just go back to that, like, being intentional part. Like, that is so important. And I also feel like when you're a creative that has a 9 to 5, so often people want to make you like try to include your job. Well, like, didn't they help you? The only thing they helped me do is pay bills, ma'am. That's the only thing they helping me do. Don't let them people take credit. So I love that you said that. And a lot of times people kind of feel like they have to kind of name drop, like, oh, like, I do not work for Google. I'm just using that as an example. Like, oh, even though I am now like a self-published New York Times bestseller, I also work for Google. Like, no, like, I ain't letting Google take the credit. And again, this is an example, I don't work for Google, but Google ain't taking the credit for the hard work that I did. They're not taking credit for me, crowdfunding and kickstarting my, self-publishing. They're not taking credit for that. Like, okay, if you find out through LinkedIn that I work for them, great. But I think it's very important. That's another intentional part as well. Like, you have to make yourself separate. And this is like, I'm a nurse as well by trade. And I think a lot of times people make like your job your identity. And that's like, I'm a nurse and it's my job, but I am not like a nurse. Like, I'm not going to, you can put that in my obituary, but don't let it be what you lead with. Like, she was a nurse here lies the nurse that loved her job. Nah, bro. Not at all.
Like, what you were a daughter, you were a sister, you were a cousin,
a wife, a mother, right?
Who happened to be a great nurse.
Sir, say it again. And I feel we get so wrapped up in our occupation being who we are. Blerd.ish is more of a representation of who you are because it's things that you love, things that you care about, things that represent your childhood, things that represent people who mean something to you, right? Like my job, you know, I might love my job, I might enjoy what I do, but it's a job. At the end of the day, like it's not it's not me.
What's funny is when I promote for this con, a lot of people don't know. They sometimes don't know that I exactly work for them. I'm like, good. Like the people who know close, but they be like, "You work for them full time?" I'm like, yeah. Like I'll make it a secret if you ask the right question, but I'm not like purposely telling you to make it. He's like, it ain't on my Facebook page, it ain't on my social media, it ain't like this.
Right.
Like and when I'm done with that event, I take down anything that don't deal with my brand down. Once, in fact,
exactly.
Every time I finish an event, the flyers I take down. I show you the results. I keep the results up, but I don't keep the free advertisement up because hey, sometimes I don't get paid for the advertisement, so I'm not gonna let it stay up. If you
love that.
pay me and this or that, cool. But like, yeah, and then I'll put stuff on Facebook. The Facebook kind of janky. For some reason, when you have a page, you can't do video and photos together on a page. I don't know why I can't do it. So I have to use my personal page to make this like collage and stuff, and then I share it to my page. So you'll see it then. You have to follow me. Exactly, Keith Cooper. I'm public, but and I say that because I don't make it hard, but people don't read, and sometimes so it's like let them find out. But ultimately, I like to share it. I share it, but I don't try to beat people over the head with it. But yeah.
But I agree. I love that.
So I am happy to I see myself in different quadrants or phases. I sell comics, podcasts. I sell merch when it goes on sale. It's backed by TeePublic. No secret again. Which is funny. I had problems with that when I first started out with that. And I'm back into gaming, so I'm now doing Twitch. Oh my God.
I follow you.
Thank you. One day I'm trying to get partner, man. I'm trying to look. And not to sound like weird about it or too like I'm money hungry. Don't get me wrong, I like money. But also as we are business, different phases of passive income.
Yes.
But if it don't become passive income, let it be fun. I'm trying to let it be a thing. Let it be something where people can enjoy, and hopefully it's all good.
Yes. I'll definitely share that channel too.
Thank you. And it's just happy to be back into creating content. By the way, I gotta learn how to get like y'all because I ain't got my situation is just a little little crazy. Like I usually don't show my face when I'm doing Twitch, not because I'm ugly or whatever. I probably am, but I don't care. But ultimately, I just don't have a good setup.
You see all these eye rolls you just got.
Like he's gotta have. He's talking about he needs the studio set up with the studio lighting and the light box. That's what he needs.
He need a good setup. Not that he in fact was ugly.
I have. She like neither one is true, sir. Well, thank you for that. But I have like a TV on the wall, and I have like a headless speaker. Like I got a $7 headless wireless headphone set from Five Below because I was like, all right, before I go get the big expensive thing, I got $7. Let me try this out, see how it works.
I like that.
Let me learn how to use OBS a little bit, and let me just see if I can do it. For one, because I don't want to sit right up on things. I don't have the other microphone. Like I literally have space in between. Like I'm just sitting there like in my living room, just like how when you play video games as a kid. So I'm just like I'm going back and forth. I literally click the stream, click start stream, whip out my phone. Thank God for Twitch mobile. Then I will chat through the phone, and then while I'm doing that, and that's why it's like, all right, video, I don't care. I know I probably need to do video, but I'm cool with like not being on camera.
There's a ton of them that are not that do really well. So
quite a few.
Yeah, I know you could probably easily do this. So yeah, I'll definitely be sharing. We'll definitely share your Twitch channel so other people can follow you
Hey,
and watch the game. I watched you play Ninja Turtles the other day.
I'm about to, man, I love Ninja Turtles. Oh my God, I love it.
I love it. You can just see him light up from within. I love it.
You saw the light just come right out.
He's like, ooh, oh my gosh. I love it.
It was such a it's such a joy. Like literally, wherever you went, from Pizza Hut to gas stations to arcades to Dave and Buster's or retro arcades now, and everybody loves the Ninja Turtles game. Even if you don't like the cartoon, people like the arcade game generally.
Yeah.
If you
Yes, the arcade games
like,
are awesome.
and you like to beat them up, and it's just such a it's such a good vibe. Like you just remember how you feel playing that game.
Yeah.
And it's like everybody was waiting on, like, yes. I was like, we can't wait. Like and it was so crazy. It dropped like right before in the middle of June. And like we celebrate our anniversary the whole month of June. I'm looking at like people, I'm like, did this really happen? Like, yes, we've been waiting on this for a year. And it's happening right before my birthday.
I love
bought
that.
it twice. So I could like stream with my friend Shout Nerd. So and I bought it like on Switch. So
Yes.
that was one of my fun things of the summer. Like game of the year.
Yeah.
Look at me. I'm like, it's available on Switch. Wait a minute.
There you
wait
go.
a minute. I love that.
Get it on Switch. We'll play together.
Yeah.
Look, I will. That's awesome. We saw like a random side note about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We saw Walmart had like these throwback retro arcade games, and it's like just that game. So they had like a little setup. Me and my husband like were in Walmart one day. We walked past it, and it was like set up so you could play it. We were in there playing it for like 20 minutes, like giving it hell. We were in there, whooping ass.
Shout out to CypherCon. If it's like the arcade one-up, because CypherCon is a con out here. They have a whole arcade section of a bunch of like one-up machines and consoles that you can play all these different old retro games. And if you use the arcade one, like, shout out to them. Like, I went to their stuff, awesome. Their big event, and that loved it. Played Rampage, played Ninja Turtles, I played Punisher.
Nice.
All of that stuff. Like, it was a wonderful time.
Oh my gosh! Like on a local level here in like Lexington, there used to be a local one here. Now it's in Louisville, but there used to be something very similar to that, where it's just like a ton of retro games that you can come in and play, plus tabletop games occasionally if you want to play those, and then just areas where you could walk around and see like the latest VR games and kind of like a little mini, what is it? E3, sports like sort of feel. And I was just like, okay, like I see you do that.
I just love that. I'm glad that that folks like us grown people, us grown millennials, if you will, / Zennials, little Gen X, still love. I'm glad that we never let that arcade kid in us die.
Yeah.
Like for the most part, we never gave it up. Like especially those who played or really loved it, even if you weren't good at it, but who liked it, you never gave it up. And
right.
I used to be like, I know people like, are you ever going to grow up out of video games? And I ask myself, will we ever just be like how our parents were, just be like, we're going to stop this. And then it was like, I thought about it. People didn't stop playing golf, and this is cheaper than golf. People don't stop other things. Why would I have to stop this?
Yes, exactly.
Nope.
That mentality that people think that the level of gamification is immature. That is the things that I'm just kind of like, actually, it's the things that saved us. It's the things that made us more intentional about what we wanted to be in life versus the things that we were told to be in life. And so I love the fact that you hold that flag up proudly. Fellow Blerd, let's go. Like, I'm for this. So I'm just kind of, yes.
I'm glad it came back in vogue because we like arcade down here, we used to call Spaceport. And one of our friends, he's like an actual video game collector. Like he's so uppity about it. He don't do emulation at all. Like it has to be the original restore. They restore it, and it's a place called B Arcade. And I go there since I've been going there, and it's like I get to play stuff like track. I played Track and Field from 1983.
Oh my gosh!
We used to play at gas stations. I call it and y'all, I know y'all that sound crazy, but gas station, there's certain games in Circle K that you saw at Circle K in the 80s that was always there in those random weird mom and pop joints.
Tops. Yeah.
And it's like it will always be like Mario Brothers eventually, sometimes. Like if they had like the Nintendo Play Choice machine,
Mhm.
you'll see Super Mario Brothers. You will see Map Mania, Track and Field, Russian Attack,
Russian Attack.
sometimes Bubble Bobble later on, before they do that, or Bust a Move. So it'll be like it'll be like within 10 games that's always like kind of their Karate Champ was one of
Yes.
the
Oh my
gas station
God.
favorites. So
Oh my
it just
goodness. Yes. I mean, and that is I think that's really funny. For those who do remember these, by the way, y'all the real MVPs listening to this podcast. Because I can tell you right now, a lot of these early millennials or late millennials are not going to catch up on it. They still think Atari is the oldest thing ever. So I'm just kind of like, you got some ways to learn out there if you want to spruce up on that. I'll help
look,
you. I'll be your one-on-one coach.
look, this was where like Atari was one of the best things. Like when I got it as a shared present with my brother, and we played it in our pajamas on our black and white TV. I didn't even like. I thought
Mm.
everything was in black and white, even though there wasn't really much color in Atari. Anyway, I didn't know Atari games had color. I thought it was supposed to be like gray blocks or whatever. But I remember playing the tank game. Tank game was fun.
Yeah,
The
that
tank
was.
game the tank game is the first game you learn how to screw over people.
Mm-hmm.
It is it's you learn how to be a competitive, angry dickhead. Like,
You can
folks,
fire back real quick.
if if you ever get a chance to play the tank game, and I think it's literally just called Tank,
Mm-hmm.
turn on reflective shots and see what I mean.
Oh my, yes. I already know. And I can just hear my cousins in the background, cussing and screaming all kinds from the moment that they discovered that. And then it was just game over from there. I would be in the hallway. I mean, I have so many memories of watching my cousins experience a lot of these earlier games because it was so new to me. And of course, I'm not gonna let the girl play. But I think it's really interesting that they had really opened up this window of this is what could be for video gaming, especially for me growing up as a kid in the 80s.
Man, I just want to say this for the ladies. Like, look, I'll say this by I'm a straight cis black man from the South. So who is a Christian and blah blah blah. So I like to I like to give you the necessary labels or whatever because But I will say this because if I'm gonna say this, like I am so happy to see so many black women into gaming these days. And
Yes.
like, first of all, this is the part where my wife gets on me all the time because like when you do these interviews, you don't miss. Shout out to Allison Cooper. I love you. Thank you for all the support.
Aww.
Love you greatly. But God, I wish she would play video games. Like she'll watch Marvel movies with me to a point, but she just be like, "What the hell is this stuff?" She'll be like, and I'll be explaining like, and I'll watch the video game channels now, like on YouTube, and it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
it relaxes me. It's like it's cool. Like I get to take a break, just unplug my mind, and now that I'm, I guess, older millennial, I'm required by law to have to watch retro YouTube games. Understand that.
Right.
Retro YouTube games are a must. Just like watch loving lo-fi music
Right.
and,
Right.
and other things. I must like those two within my nurture. But I'm starting to branch out to Twitch and learn stuff. But yeah, I love this indie game stuff. Like, what is this? It looks just like all the old games I like, but cooler with better music and faster graphics. Like, why did they
My
think about this
husband
before?
so bad.
But
yeah, that's funny.
but I'm just happy to see that gaming, Twitch, like, and I'm not the most computer savvy person, but I didn't touch a computer. Like, another thing in my story, I didn't touch a computer until I was like 16 years old. I did not have it in my house. My dad was 94 when he passed. He was born 1924. So I had an unusual life growing up.
Sure.
And how I would learn about how, and in fact, I guess I'm sorry if I'm talking too much, let me know if y'all got questions. I'll stop and just reset or whatever. But another origin story of Blerd.ish, how I kind of got into video games and other nerdy stuff is that in addition to comic books and other stuff, but to feed it, we had a store here called Winn-Dixie. I don't know if y'all heard of Winn-Dixie before or not. I would go during the summertime when you don't have a car, you're not rich or whatever. I would go to with my mom to make groceries. Yes, I said make groceries. I ain't say buy groceries. We in Louisiana. We make groceries. To go grocery shopping. I'm sorry. I know the Midwest, so, but we make groceries.
Make groceries. Go ahead.
I know somebody like make groceries. Like, yes, make groceries. And we also like cold drinks, and everything is a Coke. But we do not say soda pop. You say soda pop, people gonna look at you crazy down here. So just know if you come down this far down I-10, just say cold drink and you'll be fine. Or Coke. But just to give you a little cultural thing there. But I would go with my mom to Winn-Dixie and I would read that, like whatever comics they had, that's the comics I would read. And I would like kind of keep up with Hulk. I would keep up with Spider-Man that way. You had a limited things. And I would randomly see like Milestone comic books. I was like, who is Static Shock when he used to wear the baseball cap? I was like, that's different. I don't know about it, but I might read it one day. Then all of a sudden it disappeared. Like they ain't stocked too many Milestone comics in Winn-Dixie, but they had all the video game magazines. So I will collect the video game magazines. And that's how when I got back into trying to draw, like, when you're a kid in your elementary trying to draw, then I think it comes back in waves in middle school, late middle, like elementary and middle school, when everybody was playing Street Fighter and trying to play Sonic. Like before school, we'll have those like paper. Did y'all ever have like the book covers for y'all like school books that be like paper and you try to draw Sonic and Mario on it?
That
and you
was
try to match like the video game cover of Electronic Monthly Gaming. We doing that. We trying to draw Street Fighter. I couldn't draw like the Street Fighter characters, but I was like, I'm gonna practice on my Sonic and stuff like that. So I had a friend, like we'll catch the bus and we'll kind of do that, goof off of that. I think I drew Tails one time. He drew Tails pretty good too. And so I would buy the video game magazines and really just try to like, that was a way of me keeping. I wasn't really trying to keep up with the Joneses. I was just like doing it because I liked it. Like I didn't know that what we have now, this whole status symbol of being into nerdy stuff, it's kind of funny to me at this point.
How blurred can you go? How blurred can you go? Like I'm not down with that either.
It's weird. It's like I just did like y'all who grew up in big cities, or like really big cities, especially on the East Coast. Y'all don't know how fortunate y'all are when y'all can just walk down the block, go to like a dope comic book store instead of have to go into town. Yes, I said go into town to find stuff. And Winn-Dixie was like, it was great memories with me. Like that's how I kept into nerdy stuff. I would read like about movies coming up. I would grab that. Then as I got older, I would collect Source magazines, read up on hip hop, and kind of look at I always loved the art in the Source magazine. And shout out to the artists. I know I'm meandering, but I'm wrapping it up to other stuff that came around this week. Turns out one of the artists who did like 16 years of the Source magazine, he actually did a cover for Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer No. 6, a book that I sell for. And I saw him on a YouTube channel that I watched named Lex One. This dude really big into hip hop, who share like hip hop toys. And it's just that weird, like it's just so many 6 degrees separation. I'm like, hey bro, like thank you for this video. I didn't know that cat. Like he's like, he does a section called No Hype. He was like, he does a section where he wants to give people their respect and don't feel that they got their respect as the legends that they truly are.
Yeah.
For the art that they created. Mm-hmm. So I said, bro, thank you for that. I said, that dude is a legend. I said, I didn't really know him, but I loved his work. And I said, I have some of his work on my table. And then I told him, thank you. And to show you about intent to bring it back again. He said, thank you. He said, comments like that is what fuels me to keep going and to keep doing this. And he said, thank you. Mm-hmm. So these things move in circles. These things repeat themselves. You don't know who you're going to bless their spirit if you
Mhm.
love what they do and if you show the love. It ain't gotta be like, oh, you scream for the amount of times. Just sometimes to tell people thank you for setting up those black comics. Thank you for exploring this black artist. Thank you for showing them and giving them a decent spot to do it, and for other people to discover them. And I was like, that video uplifted my spirit. I was like, dang, I used to love collecting Source magazines all the way up through like college until it got to Eminem heavy. I was like, ah. Then I started collecting more Black Enterprise magazines. So
Right. Yeah.
I kind of
We switched.
college was like when I dropped my nerdetry for fun, but just for like I had to be like a accountant nerd and need to use all of my brain power for this for a while. But then I stopped, got into the real world, and like, okay, I was like, oh, this is so draining. I used to have like I used to like fun stuff. I was like, so slowly but surely, and how I found the word blerd, just like I looked it up, I heard it somewhere, and I said, okay, I'm gonna do a deep dive on the word blerd and see what I find. And it must have been like some type of weird magical search. I actually found people who I actually sell for today and who I'm a fans of their work. And I just kind of did that when I was in my job that I hated. I was in a budgeting job and I was just kind of having probably an existential crisis. I'm like, let me just do something that I like. And here I am working for another branch of this government. I did say budgeting because it's in my past, but don't worry about where I'm at right now. but so weird, long stories that has equated into my present and I guess about my intent and intent that I've learned from other folks.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. Cicely, I mean, there were so many takeaways from that. A lot of it just circles around one being your dang self, being yourself. Most of it comes from that same circle. I think a lot of the identity of what you love so much because is easy for you to do your job because you love what you do, right? When you're passionate about something that when you're passionate about something that you love, it doesn't feel like work anymore. It just feels like you're having fun.
Oh
Um,
man, like in fact, I'll say a little bit what I do. I work at a library. I'm not gonna say which one, but what I love though when I'm promoting this event and I see people who check out like a genre book or like fantasy and this and that, I'm like, I got you. What do you like Comic Cons? Have you been to one? I got a flyer for one that I'm a part of, blah blah blah. So it's cool when you get that little bit of joy that you get to bring somebody else joy, just for that brief second. But going back to the Black Panther days, when I first started selling, oh my God, yo, nothing is better than the unbridled joy of children. Oh, I still remember this little girl to this day. I think it was a drawing of Black Panther and Shuri, and it was just like some free. It was like something that I was just giving away that I had like as art on my pop up. And she came up, she was like this little bitty something, and she had glasses and she was tiny, but she was like, hey, can I have this picture? I said, okay, sure. I said, it's free. I said, I'm just using this, that. She literally jumped up and did like a pirouette and like hugged the thing. And it was just like
oh,
this. It was like, oh my God. So like, dang, like that's what this can do for people. And
mm.
this was like, that's been about, you know, 4 years ago, whenever Black Panther was there. So she's probably like 9 or 10 now, or 11. However, so she's within that range. So it's like, I wonder what she's like, how she's doing now. It's like you don't forget certain people that you meet.
Right. Where are they now?
Unfortunately, oh my God, some folks though. I ain't gonna
Mhm.
be negative. I'm gonna be happy. I'll be good. But yes, that was one of the best events.
Oh my
It'd
goodness.
be funny as a vendor. I like literally just I can almost say do almost a show on vending itself, but I just love vending. People shop. Oh my God, people who shop with you make you laugh. Like it's almost like an episode of Seinfeld, Atlanta, stand up comedy wrapped in one. When when you just like when you're at your table asking people to buy things from you.
Yes.
And it's no more fun. It's so fun when you do it with people. When you're not doing it by yourself. Shout out to Ground Nova. He's been like my table mate for the past couple times. And Lazy Nerds. Look them up. Dope people.
I love Lazy Nerds. I buy their clothes all the time. Like,
really?
and that was your suggestion actually, because we were talking when I was a guest on your podcast, we had talked briefly about, our anime shirts and our geeky shirts. And you had immediately dropped his Lazy Nerd, and I was like, okay, cool. And then after our interview, I saw another ad from you about shirt that you had recently gotten from them, and I was like, I need that. And since then, I have been a devout Lazy Nerd fan. Like, I go kind of like in, I guess, seasonal. Like, I'll go and say what's in season right now, and then I'll grab stuff that I like, and then I'll come back next season. And I've just kind of been on this cycle, and that was inspired from you. So as soon as you said Lazy Nerd, I was like, shout out to them because they are awesome.
Yep, they based right here in Baton Rouge with me. Fellow collaborators. I go to their spot. They like big into the fighting game scene. They're trying to do more with that. Follow them on Twitch. Just follow them in all general and help them out or whatever.
I follow them on Instagram. Their new what is it? The new Stranger Strangers Hellfire Club shirts. They have them in. I love those. I mean, I have one myself, so I'm like, as soon as the episode was over, I was already on Amazon. Like, where am I finding this?
I need to promote the ones that I have for T Public. Like, I just I only put them when it's on sale, but I didn't think about it. I was like, oh yeah, Hellfire. It's like, look, y'all. Sometimes I still be like, gosh, should I promote Hell? I know I'm goofing off, but it's like
I have
because a lot of my people.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, I'm a huge advocate. If you see me on LinkedIn, you see me in my business suit and my Hellfire shirt. Like, I'm not playing. Like, I come in there for real.
I'm joking, y'all, too, but it's just like sometimes I'll be like, I still have it in my still house where it's like, like somebody will be like, I know one of my aunties will be like, what is this? I'm shocked my auntie ain't bothered me more about it. Like,
them great aunties, they be hearing Metallica and think the devil came out to grab that child. All the things. So, I mean, I grew up in that culture a little bit. So that was a little bit of my mama. Like, what are you listening to? That's devil music.
Hey, man, I still love the Lord, but don't get me wrong. Sometimes you gotta listen to Kirk Franklin. You just gotta stomp, and then you gotta threaten people, with gunplay because he loves his guns. I don't know. I don't have none, but I'm just saying. So don't tread lightly with some Christians. Don't catch a loss with some.
Oh yeah, I show up in everything. On Sunday morning, they will see me. I will show up in my Stranger Things shirt. I will show up in my John Wick shirt. I will show up in my what is it? What was the video game? I just blanked.
Oh man, look, I just like wear like a regular polo, but my pastor now, when I actually could go before COVID, I haven't been before COVID. He's a big shoe aficionado. Like, he got all the J's. Like, he with it. Like, I think he's slightly younger than me, so it's like this is my first time having a younger pastor in my life, and it's just like, oh yeah, he's a big LeBron James fan. Like, he wanted to join my basketball Facebook group. Shout out to Basketball BS, was my first podcast that I created. We're just a group now. I didn't let him in. I was like, I don't know, bro. I don't want you to start up drama.
You gonna start praying for me.
But yes, like, that's another one of my nerd things I nerd about. I'm a big Lakers fan. I love the Pelicans too. And what a lot of people don't know, how much things overlap. Like, when we grew up, and this is probably somebody's similar experience. We grew up watching Saturday morning cartoons, me and my brother. Then we would watch Rap City Countdown or Rap City, Young TV Raps. Then we'll watch like NBA Inside stuff. Like, it was nothing. Like nothing was like rapping off the cartoons with like watch what's his name from Inside stuff. Felicia Rashad, Ahmad Rashad, just say goofy stuff. And to see all of this come back into vogue with like the video game scene, because like NBA Jam is a part of that. And you see an overlap of art, shoes, hip hop, video games. It is like it's the good parts of my childhood.
Right.
And I want to give a special shout out to have you ever heard of Mega Ran?
I have, yes.
I interviewed him. He made an album called Live 95. It's literally like an NBA jam. He takes these concepts like from like he called like the Generation of Miracles. He got songs based on stuff like that. It's kind of like NBA Live, NBA Jam esque album. I love that album. Oh my god, it's like he like the first single is called Flight, where he's like working at like a Foot Locker. He's talking about I want to get these shoes and be like Mike. And I met him at CypherCon where I was talking about I met him a few times, but I interviewed him. I recently just put up the video. Good dude, good dude. And he's on the Ninja Turtles game. He has one of the songs on it.
Oh, that is so cool.
So it's like to see him live. Mega Ran gives me I'm so happy to see him each time because he's like truly living the life. Like he gets to make songs for New Day. He gets to be a part of wrestling promotions. He gets to be sponsored by Capcom. He gets to be on Ninja Turtles. Like he's living the ultimate Blerd life, and he does it by being a humble, nice, respectful, caring family man and video game nerd and wrestling nerd, and you never hear no drama out of his life.
Yeah.
And he's a consummate, he's one of the best rappers you'll hear. Like, it ain't like he's just he's a nerdcore who raps good. No, he's a rapper. He's a dope rapper who does great nerdcore stuff if you wanted to.
I love it.
So some people who I've met through these past couple of years have been wonderful. And just it's a small world sometimes. Like, this Blerd life can be fulfilling, can be great, and can bring you back to the highest of highs. Some lows, but you have to do focus on the highs, man. Like the highs will get you through. And I'm telling this to myself. I'm gonna go back and watch this interview, and I'm telling myself this. I might be at a new level. I'm like, I'm gonna watch that video. Oh yeah, I said that. So
well, it's the truth, and more people need to hear it. I mean, there's so many of us out there in the creative and tech industries. They just need to have this level of play, right? Find the things that bring you joy and stick to it, because those are the things that are going to get you through the moments when it doesn't feel like joy.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I just love the fact that you've given us multiple examples of people and yourself, as an example for what it's like to live intentionally and live with a level of intention for yourself. So I really appreciate the fact that you just come kick it with us, because that's what it's all about. We just want to hear those experiences, those life journeys, those life chronicling moments in your life that really allowed you to pivot, change for the better, and also help encourage other people who are behind us that are trying to get in those same acclimated steps.
Man, in fact, I just to go even further, to kind of go back to, in all seriousness, I was feeling a little bit down, and like I said, I always have to kind of pick myself up when it's that time when my brother passed. He did not get to see to live 40. He passed before his birthday in the first, he was born July 7th. So kind of between the end of June and July, it gets a little rough. And I was going through the struggle with planning of this con. I was just so stressed the hell out. I was like, oh my God, do I want to keep doing this? Should I quit? I don't get paid extra for this. It was it's stuff that I don't know, that I don't want to hurt my business brand. But then a young dude, who is also, he's a librarian. He actually has the master's in it. And of course he's trying to, promote up and stuff. And he kind of lives out in one of the far parts of the parish, the equivalent to accounting here, if for those who are not familiar. And he hits me up. He's like, Key, thank you for all that you do. Every time I see you sell these books, these Black wonderful comics and things, it picks me up and it inspires me. And it's one hand I was like, damn, I really needed that. And that was in addition to the folks at Jackson made me feel so great, wonderful. For one, I go to Jackson when I do the con, I actually hear people tell me they listen to my podcast. I'll be like, what?
Double look?
You do? Damn. I'm like, all right, like that. I'm sorry, that still feels good, y'all. After 6 years, because I don't hear it a lot in my old hometown where I just meet people like, oh yeah, listen to your podcast, thank you. It's cool. Like I'll meet people that are like, oh man, like I was coming here about driving like 5 hours. You got so much. I was like, I just turned it on, and y'all, you and Mark was cracking me up. I was like, okay, bet. Like it feels good to hear.
I love it. I love it. I
Yep.
feel like for you too, as you talk about, even as you talk just about that, you should. I hope you do go back and watch this because your face lights up every single time. So I really hope that you do go back and watch this and hear your words, because when you speak those things, you clearly are showing those things with your facial features, with your smile, all the things. So I really hope that you see pieces of yourself and hear pieces of yourself when you go back and listen to this, because it's very truth telling.
Look, I mean, whether if it was nerd work or other stuff or different things, but to have somebody really tell you thank you for what you do, it's like it feels weird sometimes because we're so. I guess when you depends on what you do, and I work for the public, you're used to like, and they might say thank you or whatever, but for the stuff that you're passionate about, that you do, that kind of like makes you, and people are thanking you for it, and it's also a combination of several people that's a part of that, and it's like, yeah, it feels great, like it really does feel good. So it's like, let me tell. That's why I wanted to tell like the guy who do the toy collecting, like, hey, thank you for what you do. And it's just like sometimes just pass it on. Just pass it on. If you find somebody work dope, it's okay to leave a good comment to say thank you. It's okay to be like, I'm gonna share this. And also, let me just get on people for a minute. Let me just say this. I'm gonna say this politely. It's free 99 to share. Even if you don't want to listen to Danielle and wonderful people like her, myself, I understand why you may not want to share me. But Danielle, come on. Wonderful. Our wonderful co-host here. How can you not want to share them? It's free
Cicely is the
99.
best. Come on, Cicely. That's we bragging on this Cicely.
Yeah,
We give her all the voiceover credit, all the things. Like that's
free 99 to share. Nobody's
yes.
gonna, nobody's gonna beat you because you shared something.
Mhm.
I
And
love that you said that.
I know, like I look. In fact, I'm very weird about my groups. Like I do not do meme groups.
Mhm.
I put my memes on my page when I'm telling a joke or sharing a joke.
Yes.
Groups, Blerd Market, I let people share their Kickstarters to a point. People with Kickstarters will blow your damn brains out.
Right.
Oh
Sometimes
my
it can be
god!
aggressive. Right.
Whoo, they only come when they got a Kickstarter. They don't never just be like, "Hey, what's up? Let me share this."
I care about you, bro. And here's my Kickstarter link.
Right.
What's
Don't forget to
crazy is
share.
creators don't care about they. They don't even share their own stuff until they got a Kickstarter.
Right.
Like,
Like I didn't
Terrible.
even know you had Facebook. All of a sudden now you got Facebook and a Kickstarter. That's too
bruh,
funny.
man, I had people literally hit me up recently and like, I'm not a hard guy that I'm not gonna fight with you and make nothing public if it ain't like you did nothing to me. You
Mhm.
know, I'm not like that. I had one creator, he just hit me up and he just like he added me as a friend and then he shared his Kickstarter link to me. He didn't say hello. He didn't say that. He was like, oh, no, this is what he said. Oh, I see we're in some of the same circles. Wow. And he dropped it like the big face Joker. I'm like, okay. I said, okay. So by the way, guess what? I'm a podcaster. Do you want to? I say, well, if you, and he was like, I always kind of hit people with this. Or will you share for me? I said, I'll do you one better. How about we do a podcast on your stuff?
I
Mhm.
love that.
But
Yep.
yes, but then it's like, I said, now let me tell you this. I said, my life, schedule is a little bit odd and a little bit different. I can't always. I say, for one, I hate Kickstarter episodes because I feel slightly used like an infomercial. I don't want to do an infomercial podcast. I want to talk about the story and why people should buy your story, not just
Yeah.
why they should just give to your Kickstarter.
Mhm.
Always, like, and maybe that's just me. I know, and writers would probably be like, "Boo, you don't know what he's talking about." Look, that's sorry. That's just how I get down. I don't care about what gifts I'm gonna get from a Kickstarter. I don't give a damn. I want to know what makes me want to invest in your book, to
Mhm.
buy this, and why the characters are good for me to
Yeah.
want to buy that. And he was
Right.
like, "Oh well, if it ain't within this time frame, it ain't gonna make any sense." And then he followed, "Do you understand?" I'm like, "Oh, okay.
Yikes.
Well,"
Wow.
I said, "Well,
That's
we
aggressive.
shall see." And I was like, "You know what?" It was like the 14th day of the Kickstarter. I didn't share it, by the way. And I told him where he can share it. I said, "Hey, I have a group that literally is this. This is the name of the group. You can share it there.
Yeah.
No biggie, no problem." He never shared it.
Wow.
It's like
What do you want then?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna share it on my personal page.
Right.
Kickstarters don't
Exactly.
go on my personal page, y'all.
Not with that
I tell
attitude, especially.
Yeah.
you, like that, like only well, if you get a Kickstarter on my personal page, more than likely I'm already selling for you, and
Mhm.
we have mutual respect.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
not to brag, but like not to sound like I'm a snob or nothing. But yes, if I'm sharing your Kickstarter on Keith Cooper page, you have earned it.
Yeah.
But you can go to the Blerd market and you can share. It's literally called the Blerd market.
Yes.
You can share your stuff and links to sell.
Yeah. I think that's well, I love that. Thank you for sharing that resource. I'll definitely make sure I list that also. We put that in our notes so people can go and share some things that they so deem necessary. But I really do want to commend you though too, because you recognize too that your space has value, and you're not gonna let any, Tom, Dick, or Harry, no or less, come up there and just say, I got stuff too.
It
You have to have some
it
merit.
drives my wife insane because this is how the conversation. Like, this is why I drive my wife insane. Because of course I told y'all a story about how people try to use my name, how people try to do this, do that,
Mhm.
and or see if you're in circles. So you cannot tag me in nothing generally to pop up on my Facebook page. I have to review it to allow it
They
on.
accept it. Mhm.
And
Right.
if anything, because I would keep it real. I like to call my own number too. Look, I ain't guilty. I'm guilty. I love to self promote. I look. If you tell me to get out your group, I will happily get out your group. Because if I can't promote your group, I probably not gonna be there. I don't really Facebook groups. Like I kind of like to be in the ones that I'm over and some that I'm cool with. So I kind of
Right.
pared it down and less drama groups. I'll just
Yeah.
keep it at that. But yeah, like so my wife be like, I want to tag you and stuff, and you need to let it on. Like, I am never, ever, 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 ever going to just have it where you can just free roam on my page and tag me and it pop up on there. I said, Allison, you see some of these people I went to cons with. I said, shout out to my homie John Paul, one of the sweetest nerds out there, well-meaning nerds, always buy books from me. But he's a little bit of a loon. I love him. But he's like, you can't just be no. You don't
You
want
can't tag me in that.
you don't want people to have free range to this space
Right.
because it's my personal space, and I mean I know I'm virtually am Blerd.ish too, so I get what it
Mhm.
does. So it's like no, especially if you're a creator, holler at me the right way. Let's do a
Right.
pod. Let's create content like how I'm doing with these wonderful podcasters right now, and support small Black media.
Yes.
Um, I
Amen.
Yes.
I need creators. Creators share the wealth in that way. Free
Mhm.
99 of your time. You
Yes.
know, and
Yes.
it's like I'm sure. I don't know if y'all ever come across the people. Have y'all been blown off before for podcasts?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh man, woo! I the craziest. I'm gonna share one, and then y'all share one. This is how bad I got blown off for one. It was a comic book writer, and I think they own a store, and they was like kind of placating, like, yeah, I'm ready, blah blah blah. I'm like, are you ready? Like, I'm about to send a link. You ready? Like, yeah. I ain't hear from them that day. I had like this is when I would go into person to go to the barbershop to do it more often,
Oh
which I don't
wow.
live close by. Wasted my time. Um,
Oh,
and also when you're a podcaster, your time is never valuable. It's only the
Right.
creators. Those only the guest time that's valuable. Okay, but and they never apologized, and I think they kind of was friends with somebody who never liked our podcast from the beginning because we mentioned Marvel as one of our first podcasts, and they were also a creator as well. And I know it seems wild and petty, but I connected the dots. I'm like, wow. And they never apologized. They never hit me back, never gave a damn to do it.
Wow.
And I'm like,
That's
wow,
ridiculous.
just say no.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
We've
say
had
no.
the continuous scheduler, the person that says that they're interested.
Yes.
You know what
That
I'm
was
talking
going to be
about.
my example. I was going to say, like, it just falls off every week and then pops up again every week. So, yeah.
Yeah, we
And
have
it's
the
okay to say no. Like, if it doesn't work in your schedule and you need to defer to the next season, like, we're okay with that. We really are.
And then there's
Yeah.
the person who knows that I sell books, sold a comic book. They're cool about that, but I'll be like, hey, do you want to come to the podcast? You do a podcast? I'm like, I'll be like, just say no. Just say no. Just say I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Okay there. Like,
Some people get it and just some people don't. But I'm glad that we neither all of us understand that we protect our boundaries. We stand up
Absolutely.
for the spaces when our time is being undervalued, underpaid, things along those lines. So as long as we speak up, I feel like we're being true to that.
and let me say this.
Agreed.
Look, y'all, like I podcast for free. I'm not sponsored by nobody. I have affiliates, which means I still gotta go sell it. I gotta make a transaction, transact, turn over. That's how I fund me, and I fund myself through books that help other people. So when I hate to say it, like, oh, how can we put it like this? Podcasting is truly a labor of love. It is a part of content creation. It's a part of me to get my voice out.
Yes.
I do not get paid by you blowing me off. And if you don't want to do it.
Yes.
So I kind of have I appreciate the guests I do. I've actually my recent guest, Malcolm Merrill. And I work with a lot of other contributors like Nerd Soul, Gift of Elu. So I kind of have switched to more people who I can discuss topics with more. I will still have guests on, especially like return guests, whatever. But these days, if only if it's easy. If it's difficult,
I feel you. I'm entirely on that process. It's
I am.
hard.
Yes. But I've had some wonderful guests like yourself, and just people who've been a joy to be on. And you know what's crazy? The people who are the most successful, who who I would understand if they said, you know what, I ain't doing your shit. I'm like, all right, yes, sir. All right, I'm sorry. They'll be like the most wonderful people to work with.
That's awesome.
Like,
Yes.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Like, I've had Rob Guillory for one. Not one of the nicest people. I kid you not. Rob Guillory, like, it's funny. It's a running gag. Like, Rob, I don't know if y'all familiar with Rob Guillory, but he's the creator of Chew. One of the
Okay.
co-creators too. He's the creator of Current Farmhand. If you ain't reading Farmhand, go watch it. Go read it. It's like a fictional sci-fi. I call it when I sell it, I call it a sci-fi comedy horror thing based on the fictional Lafayette. So that's how I describe it. Because it's all those things in one. But this man is a Eisner Award winning artist right out of Lafayette, Louisiana. Lives an hour away. I actually emailed him a year when I first started. I emailed him a year in advance to get this interview. Then he finally had time to say, you know what, I'll do it. But he is working. It ain't like he's just being like, mean or whatever. He don't do a lot of social media, but he will pop up and I'll like say something. He'll like click the like button, talk to him, met him, hung out with him. Cool dude. And when we did an interview, he actually said, hey, how about y'all come into the studio if y'all want to do it that way? So I got to see some of the farmhand layouts on his studio, and we got the interview from there. And that was one of my highlights, like, just to talk to somebody who's not only local, but also so successful. And it's just kind of like, okay, I know, like, if Mark would not be so gracious about it. Mark would be like, let me do my Mark for it. You can't beat Thomas. It's like, shout out to Mark, but like, and I try to deal with people graciously about it, and it's like I don't be like, I done did such and such, did that, and whatever. It's like, okay, I'm not your cup of tea. Cool. I'm not from a big city. Cool. I'm not, I ain't gonna say those things, but I'm not somebody you see yourself like, yes, I'm not single, so
Mhm.
I'm not dateable. And I know the
Yep.
flip that I know a lot of women creators have to deal with that. Yo,
Yes.
also guys, if you want to
Yeah.
work with women creators, look, you might want to shoot your shot at some. Just don't. I see some stuff this past week like, don't shoot your shot in the same email you try to work with people. Come on, if you're gonna be trash, be a little more refined trash. Shoot your
Read the
shot.
bio.
Read the bio. Don't shoot your shot and do business transactions in the same damn conversation. Wild stuff, man.
It is. It's wild times. But I really do like love the fact that you mentioned a lot of these truths happening in our industry, like in this particular industry, specifically in podcasting, but also in the same area of comics and our nerd culture, things along those lines that people try to take advantage of. That's
Yo,
true.
man, look, let me just it don't matter if it's nerdry, hip hop. I got friends who do hip hop, who do shows, who do other stuff, who DJ, who vend, who does art. It really boils down to, can you keep it honest? Can you do what you say you're gonna do, or just say you can't? Um, or say, when can you do it? Reschedule. If you gotta be a rescheduler, that's okay. Just don't be trying to reschedule at the last minute or wasting my time, and I won't
Mm.
try to waste yours.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of decency along different things, and us as entertain, and this is slightly entertainment, it's industry, it's whatever. I know podcasters, I feel like we're like the bottom of the barrel of the creation food
we
chain,
we working our way up. We working up.
because the folks be like, I'll start my own podcast, but then they don't ever follow up with it though. They'll do it, but yet somehow it don't continue. Huh. That'd be funny. I'd be like, I thought you had all this energy and you could do it better.
Right? Tell them.
But shout out to those who do. I've seen some creators who actually who are becoming very good podcasters.
Yeah,
You know,
totally. Okay, so I think this is a good turning point to kind of wrap up the interview part and move on to our flash questionnaire that
okay.
Miss Cicely will be dictating here. Oh, I shouldn't say dictating, but she'll give. I shouldn't say that. She's not the hammer. She's not. It's usually me. It's not. It's not Cicely.
Oh, you the problem.
But I definitely want to let you share any cool things that are happening in and around Blerd.ish over the next little bit, and how people can find you directly.
Okay. I'm very easy. I'm Keith Cooper on Facebook. Only hit me up if you ain't about no drama on my personal one. Or you ain't on that fuck shit. Just keeping it real. But you can hit me up on IG at Blerd.ish1. So I'm on IG. I'm mostly there for the most part. I have a Twitter. I don't worry about Twitter. I check it every blue moon. I'm kind of staying away from it until this whole Elon Musk thing is sorted out. Maybe I'll pick it up. But Facebook, IG, Keith Cooper on Facebook, and www.blerd-ish.com. That's www.blerd.com. I got my socials listed on there too. You can email me through that as well. You got the email on my you can hit the email button on my IG page. You can message me through Facebook. All jokes aside, I am willing to listen to anything you send me. And I'm not going to try to screenshot you and do nothing crazy like that. Like, if you're crazy, I'm just going all right, go away. I ain't trying to be none of, start no drama. But that's how you can find me, and things I got going on. Of course, Mid City Microcon. If you are in Baton Rouge or around the area, if you can drive to Baton Rouge, August 6th, 7th, I will be a vendor. I've been planning it. We got some wonderful guests, wonderful panelists, wonderful vendors that will be a part of it. It'll be our 5th year. It will be at, you'll find it if you go to look it up. Check my socials. You can find the website. I don't like to go deep into that on the podcast about my job and all that, so you can find it. But very easy, and it's the Mid City Microcon on my socials. You better find it. And October 1st and 2nd, I will be a vendor at the Louisiana Comic Con. that's out in Lafayette. I love one of the cons I love attending. Just an hour away. It's well attended. And you'll see me there.
Oh, I love this. Okay, so I'm gonna be marking my calendar. Sounds like a road trip, maybe, quote unquote. Don't count, don't pencil me, but maybe a road trip for me.
Hey.
That's too funny. Okay, so I think Cicely, we are ready to move on with our flash questionnaire. You just say the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
So you're not allowed to think about it. You just gotta. It's the first thing that comes out, no matter how crazy it is or how weird it is. You gotta roll with it. All right. Something new you've learned in the past year: life lesson, hobby, or fun fact.
Switch, how to use OBS, and that's the first thing come to my mind.
Okay, that's awesome. Favorite vacation or getaway spot?
Anywhere with a beach, anywhere with good food, sun, beach, sun, beach.
And that's it. That's all we need. Sweet snacks or savory snacks?
Unfortunately, sweet.
I think we're all three guilty of that. It's sad. We have the same style. Like, oh man, Harry Potter or Star Wars?
Uh, Harry Potter.
Okay, you're in good company.
He could have said neither. He looked at it like I gotta pick.
I mean, he's like, that
If
phase.
I had to, Harry Potter.
I think that's the part of the library that comes out in you. Because I mean, I think they're well written books, but whatever. We'll get into that another time. So, digital books or physical books?
Physical.
Almost always. What are we, like 98% physical at this point? Like from all the seasons we've done this question.
Yeah.
If you can go back in time, where would you go and whom would you see?
First thought about my head, I would go back and see Magic Johnson live in person and just like, hey, what up, Magic, and go see him play. I know I want to say something profound, but
That's awesome though. That's the sports.
Magic Johnson, man. I would love it. It's my bucket list to still be in the Forum. I said the Forum to be where the Lakers play, which is not even the Staples. It's the crypto
somewhere else though.
.com, but it was the Forum back in the day. In my day, it was the Forum. But yes, I would love to see Magic Johnson play in person.
I love that. That's an awesome answer. So what is your love language or your love languages?
Love language. Showing people that you care. For my wife, definitely rubbing her feet to ad nauseum. Oh my God. Oh. She wear my hands out. Just showing people that you care about them, that how they mean to you.
I love it. So that's acts of service. I love that. And I know you said Allison is her name.
Yes. Allison.
Shout out to Allison. I love it. All right. And the last question is, or last flash is, what is the best part of being a grown-up?
Money. I guess to go do the childish shit I want to do. Like after I taken care of the adult stuff, traveling. Unfortunately, when I was up through college or whatever, not having the best of cars, and it's like, still cars are a problem. But when you got one and you got some money, hey, then you can go to your favorite con. You can go to the favorite beach. You can go get those sweet snacks that you shouldn't have.
I love that answer. That's all encompassing. It's like I can travel and I can do what I want when I want to do it. I love it. But thank you for answering those. Like I said, I love the first things that popped off your head. Those were great. So thank you so much.
You always find a way to seriously bring it all around full circle. So I just want to thank you for your time, your energy. Please thank Allison so much for us. I love the fact you got to share this little moment. And also for everyone out there listening, take these valued words that are coming from another creative and apply them in the ways that resonate best with your life and the best direction and path that you're wanting to go in. There's a lot of wisdom that was shared today amongst all the chuckles. So I hope everyone was able to pay attention and really kind of pick up on what Keith is putting down. Keith, brother, I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Energy.
Thank y'all, man. I thank y'all for having me, and I hope that I lighten somebody's day, by not being too serious And really, if of course, if you can't support me, I would love you to. I would love you to buy books, and I sell mainstream titles too. Yes, shameless plug, buy some merch. But definitely support these ladies. Support your fellow blurs out here. Try to think about really just avoid some of the ugliness that has been going on this week. It's always good to discuss it. Nobody's above reproach above criticism. Look, Mark was getting on my ass earlier today about something. Like always, I get it from my own co-host. So, but just I guess my words is just have fun, be treat people well, but stand on your principles. Be proud of yourself, especially if you're a black person or a person of color out here in these streets. You can be a nerd and you can be proud of who you are. Nerd is not a race. Nerd is an adjective. It does not make you. It's not your core. It is a part of your core, but you didn't come out the womb knowing you was a nerd. Maybe all right by the time you about 3, 4, 5, maybe, but still, you knew other things about you before that. So you're just building you're adding layers, or you're like an onion. You have layers that's peeled till you get to your center. So never forget who you are. Never forget your core.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for your time. And for all of you who are listening to the More Than Graphics podcast, we just thank you for listening. We encourage you to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Send us your feedback on Facebook or Twitter on how our life stories and virtual safe spaces are helping you navigate, empower, or encourage you. And to be sure to check out our podcast at mtgthepodcast.com and subscribe to our emails for the exclusive behind the scenes moments like Clubhouse. That's every Tuesday night at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. So from all of us to all of you, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.